Good Monday morning to everybody. This is Skyla Mann, and it's time for Game Plan. So this is our final week. We are going to be covering chapters 24 and 25, and I am super excited because it's one thing to talk about ideas, but when it's time for the action and time for everything to be implemented, that's when I get super, super excited. So that's where we are today. Starting with chapter 24, this is kind of the awesome recap chapter and encouragement and that sort of thing. All those vital reminders that we need because sometimes we're too hard on ourselves. Anybody guilty of that? I think we can be our own worst critics. So I'm going to try to help guide you and coach you beyond that because there's so much goodness that awaits. We can't even waste an ounce of energy being our own worst critics. Okay, so we're going to move past that. First thing, one of my favorite quotes of all times is, "Comparison is the thief of joy." And if you don't already have that hanging somewhere prominent in your house, I think that you need to jot that one down. I love how Sarah talks about this, that when we compare our beginning with someone else's middle, when we're thinking of the journey, we're not comparing apples to apples. And even if we were, comparison in general steals our own joy. So get right with yourself. Get right with your purpose and your why and your gifts and your skills and all of that. And don't worry about what your neighbor is doing, but just hone in on where you're headed. And I promise you that things will start happening. For those of you that are watching, how many of you have seen or heard in person Sonia Swan's talk, her seminar about conscious language and speaking life? Okay, so you guys are going to know exactly what I'm talking about. If some of you are catching this on the replay and you don't know what I'm talking about, go to YouTube and Google, look up Sonia Swan, Our House of Life, and she's got an amazing session about words and conscious languaging and just how we can literally have a choice to speak life or speak death over ourselves and our businesses and our parenting and everything, absolutely everything. I just read a little book on the airplane that I received from Sonia's sister, so our upline, Evangeline Reed. And if I had it here handy, I would grab it, but I think it's upstairs at the moment. But it's a little tiny pamphlet. It's actually the same size as the mini game plan. And the name of it is Quantum Faith. And it is all about conscious languaging. It's all about words. And this woman who wrote it, I believe her name is Elizabeth Capps, C-A-P-P-S. And Elizabeth is comparing quantum physics, which I know nothing about, and our world. And she brings those concepts together to say, yes, when we speak, the energy in our words can absolutely change even something like the atomic particles that are in a book. And I have a super hard time wrapping my head around that. But everything, even this wooden chair that I'm sitting on, it is, when we look at it, it looks like a solid and it looks like it's dead because the wood has been harvested. But if we were to look at it under the most powerful microscope, this is nothing more than a bunch of atoms that are held together, right? So somewhere in my mind, I remember a science class that I can sort of grasp that, but not really. But truly, we're projecting energy. And that energy can change even a rock. And that's why in the Bible, when it says command that mountain to move, it can literally move. And so it's okay if you can't picture it on the grand scale, but picture it on a small scale. You've probably heard about Dr. Emoto's work with the water and taping those words on the water. Okay, so if that's easier to grasp, focus on that. That's the easiest one for me to get because I know that our bodies are made up primarily of water. And if I speak positive things, even over you guys right now, if I say, Kat and Kaylee and Amy, you look beautiful today. You are radiant. Your smiles are gorgeous. There is actually something happening in the very cells of your body right now that are like, yes, feed me more. I like this. Okay? But if I came angry and I was like, why were you late? Is your homework done? All of a sudden, we start shutting down and those cells start to recoil and say, this is not a safe place for me. So it's easy to know to talk respectfully to others. Kat, when you're talking to Kaylee, it's easy to project that love and the kindness, right? But what about when you're talking about and to yourself? That's who we want to be the most graceful with and the most gracious with. And in terms of parenting, you guys, oh my gosh, I'm so hypersensitive to this. Our kids watch and listen to the words we say to ourselves. And if we're continually saying, oh man, I need to lose weight, I really should work out, they suddenly hear, oh, mom doesn't think she's okay the way she is. That probably means I'm not okay the way I am. And we just don't need that. We just don't need that. You're beautiful. You're perfect. Is there always room for growth? Sure, absolutely. But look at it as growth opportunities. Don't look at it as you're somehow deficient and you need to change. You change because you choose to, not because you have to. Okay? So speaking life in terms of our business, speak life over what is happening and what is coming. I love, love, love what Saras says on the top of page 198. She says, if you had $170,000 deposited into your bank account on the 20th of every month because you were Royal Crown Diamond, would you carry yourself differently? Would you talk about your business differently and your team? And I just think that is so important. Would you make different choices? Would you, like when you meet someone in the store and they inquire about what you do, would your answer sound differently if you had just had $170,000 deposited in your bank account this week than it does right now? Okay, so here's the trick. This is one of the huge secrets to success. Carry yourself as though you're already there. Okay, so when you go into the grocery store this week and you've got your shoulders back and you're smiling and someone maybe asks a question, if there's a great opportunity to engage in a dialogue, I want you to be thinking in your head, I just had $170,000 deposited into my Young Living bank account. How am I going to respond to this person? With complete clarity and confidence, like there is no wavering of faith in your being, because you know that you know that you know this is the most awesome opportunity on the planet. And so we just have to be able to put ourselves in that position, even though it hasn't happened yet. Both of you that are here today, you have evidence that when you share, you do get paid. And as large or as small as that evidence may be at this moment, you can use everybody else's story to assure yourself that, yes, this is very, very real. Okay? The next point, after getting comparison out of the way, to embrace your pace. And I cannot tell you how many times I've had to coach people through this. We are all on a different pace because we are all at different seasons of life. Okay? My sister-in-law has 4 young children, and that makes building this business a much different ballgame than someone who has no kids left at home. It just is. And it doesn't make it impossible. It will make it different. I believe that where there is a will, there's a way. But I also think you have got to embrace where you are, figure out what works best for you in this season of life, and then own it. But don't be apologetic that, oh my gosh, I can't build like Deborah Rayburn builds. You know, well, Deborah doesn't have any children at home anymore. And she's not pregnant with morning sickness anymore. It's a different ball game. Okay, so let that go. What you do need to do is focus on what are your gifts, what are your skills, and your personality traits that's going to make this successful. And hone in on that, all the unique stuff that you bring to the table. Amy, you are so darn good with video that it just puts the rest of us to shame. You're so engaging and delightful. I mean that. And I think that is a true gift. So when you pop on that you're doing a live, I know that people look forward to seeing what in the world is Amy going to tell us today. And you have this wonderful, humor, sense of humor and silliness about you that is just delightfully attractive. And so I would say, and it's just my opinion, I'd say keep that up because I think they're awesome. And I think that is a wonderful skill. Now I know others, I haven't been shopping with Kaylee, but I know that others that have young children have found that they are one of the best icebreakers on the planet. So while Amy does not have a toddler to take shopping with her to break the ice, she's kind of on her own. Kat, you've got a magnet that everybody, I bet you never go through a store where somebody doesn't smile and say hi to her. And that's a gift unto itself because you can open up every conversation. I don't know if she is inclined to do it, but I know some kids that will just pull an oil out of mom's purse and say, you need oil. and not that you want to coach her on that necessarily, but it is a very, oh, shoot, where did my Zoom go? Oh my goodness, there. Sorry, did I disappear? No, maybe not. I clicked on something and my screen went away. Or when she doesn't say hi to random strangers. Exactly. So when you know no stranger, this can be a gift if you figure out how to harness it for good. And I know sometimes you just need to get in and out. You don't have time to talk to everybody. But I would say for you, Kat, to think about what is your efficient strategy. If Kaylee says hi and engages someone in conversation, let's think through what are you going to have on you to share with them? Or do you have that strategy where you say, oh gosh, I don't have any business cards, hand them your phone and say, could you just, open up the notes section and put your name and your contact information in here. And when I get home and she takes a nap, I will be glad to reach out to you. If you just know what your strategy is, then every time you start a conversation with somebody, that's going to become a blessing because that's a seed that is being planted. Okay, so going on just a little bit here, Saras says, it is her hope that if this book does nothing else, that it helps you see where Young Living goes. I hope you can walk away and really catch the vision. Young Living is the least amount of effort for the most amount of reward. It is what Sarah calls, and what I love, it is time economy. Okay, that's really what we want, you guys. We want to help everyone get the most bang for their buck when it comes to every hour of the day. And I am still in awe that, I was in Australia for the better part of this month, and my check is more than what it was last month. And it is no small modern day miracle that the idea of time economy works. I have put in lots of hours teaching and coaching and training people. And I hit the ground running as soon as I came home. I got on another plane and went to Indianapolis for an event. But the fact that this truly works and that you can earn money while you sleep, it's outrageous. It's just outrageous. And we need to be casting that vision with other people, because I know that there are people that are not happy with their jobs and they want to figure out how to harness that time economy. So, hypothetically speaking, if you were to commit 40 hours a week to your Young Living business, what would happen? Right? It would go berserk. What if, so just think, I don't know off the top of my head how many each of you have on your team, but just fathom for a moment, what if every person on your team for the entire month of June put 40 hours a day into their 40 hours a week into their Young Living business? I think your teams would transform into something that not even you could recognize, right? It would be insane. So here's the good news. That's one option, and it's not impossible, but it's probably not likely that somebody is going to put 40 hours, even me, okay? But what you need to know is that that's not the only way to succeed. This business, I really think, I've heard some other cross-line diamond leaders talk about this. This is the only $1 million business that you can build that is built in 5-minute increments. And here's what I want. Both of you are extremely busy moms, and I want you to think about this. 5 minutes at a time, not I have to block out 4 hours of uninterrupted time. Yes, it's nice when you can do that, but in reality, we get 5-minute chunks, and oftentimes they're in the bathroom, right? I know for you, Kat, I get it. And you too. Amy's trying to get away from Barney. But here's the deal. In 5 minutes, you can send a text to a prospect. Kaylee's helping, I get it. You can respond to a concerned friend on Facebook. You can reach out to a current team member and give them some encouragement or some attaboys or answer a question. 5 minutes at a time. So don't think for a moment that those little spurts of activity don't add up. When I was in Indianapolis this week, over the weekend, we were talking about how to use oily tools, and that when you go into the person's profile, you can just hit on the text button and you can immediately send them something. So when I get a notification that someone has enrolled their first member, I go right into Oily Tools, I hit that text button, and I say, congratulations, this is so awesome, and maybe I'll make them a little graphic on WordSwag, and I'll send that to them, and I fire it off just as soon as I get the alert. And you know what I'm getting back? I'm getting back messages saying, holy cow, you're a diamond, and you're taking time to send me a text congratulating me for enrolling one person? And do you know what that does to their self-esteem? It goes through the roof. So imagine, Amy, if you enroll somebody, what if every upline between you and me did that, and we just throw this virtual party? They're going to think, okay, that must be a bigger deal than I thought. I'm going to do it again. And we're training them just like you train a child or just like you train a dog. Reward the good behavior. Okay, and let that bad behavior slide, right? Or correct it. But most importantly, praise the heck out of people when they do what you want them to do. We want people to share and enroll. So when they do it, we throw a party, okay? So here's Sarah's tips. Starting on the bottom of 198, if you've got your book handy, commit what you are able. If it's 5 minutes at a time, fantastic, commit that. If you can block out 2 nights a week or a lunchtime and an evening or whatever it looks like for you, commit it. Block it out on your calendar and dedicate that time to building your business. Second thing, set boundaries. Okay? I'm not the best role model at this because when I started building Young Living, I went whole hog, and I did that on purpose, but I wanted to create momentum. So we definitely talked about what it was going to look like with our kids, and they were fully on board. So they knew what to expect. But for a season, if I got phone calls at crazy hours or crazy days, I would take them because I was focused, like laser focused on building this. I think it is healthy to have boundaries. In my ideal world, I would have dedicated office hours, and I'm still working on that, where I would say anybody can call or come, or we can set up coaching time during these hours, and then everybody would know what that would look like. Don't give up, even when things don't go as planned. The only people who don't make it to diamond are the ones that give up. Okay? Do you care if it takes you 3 years or 13 years? Honestly, if it took 13 years to get to diamond and you were earning, $15 or $20 or $30,000 a month, that's still a way better retirement plan than most of us have available. So be patient. Do not give up. If you get curveballs thrown at you, smile, let them bounce off. It'll be okay. All right? Just don't give up. Grow from your weaknesses and learn how to take criticism well. Okay? Everybody is growing, and you will get criticized. Just kind of accept that and know that. Sometimes by people extremely close to us. It's part of the deal, you guys. I've got family members that are not on board. Some are neutral, some are negative. And I will not let that burst my bubble. I still love them, okay? But they don't understand what we do. They think it's weird, and God bless them, I can't change that. I've invited them to look at it from a different angle. Zero interest, and that's okay. But you know what? I'm not going to give it up and say, oh, you were right. Brian should probably go back to work. Like, no way. There's no way that's happening. So avoid the 6 pitfalls. That's from a previous chapter. Know your why and revisit it often. So you guys, this is the biggest one. I want you to put a star beside that. If you do not know your why, it is so easy to get derailed, okay? Because you won't have anything keeping you on track, because every little obstacle then becomes oh geez, should I stick with this or not? I don't know why I'm doing this. If you know why, crystal clear why, that will keep you focused, okay? Pray specifically over your business and pray over your leaders by name. I cannot say enough about this, you guys. Pray for God to invite, to bring the people to you. Pray that you will recognize who needs your time and attention. Prayer works. It's like speaking that life over your business, but it absolutely works. So keep that at the forefront of your daily business tasks. It doesn't mean it has to be long, but recognize who's in charge, and then everything will stay on track. Connect relationally with your downline. Whatever you do, always keep the distributor at the center of your decisions. If your heart is always for them, the Lord will bless it, okay? The people on our teams cannot just be numbers, okay? Never, if anything, this is my greatest weakness because I care ridiculously deeply for each person in my downline. And sometimes that gets messy. But if you can connect relationally with these people, get to know them, get to know what's going on in their families. Once they know you care, they will bend over backwards to help you. Okay? When they know that you're bending over backwards to help them, the rest of it is cake. Okay? So here's your challenge from chapter 24, okay? And I'm going to be super adamant that you do this if you have not already. And if you did it a long time ago, then I would suggest that you do it again. You've got 24 hours in every day, okay? What I want you to do is I want you to sit down and I want you to write your vision. In the ideal world, okay, write down your goals. What do you want to achieve? I was listening to an amazing book. In fact, I like it so much that I have both the audio version and I have the paperback version. The Circle Maker. If you have not read this one, you guys, not that I always want to, I'm not trying to distract you with more books, but this is so fantastic. And actually, I have not read anything yet this year by Mark Batterson that I did not just love. I got this author from Jim Bob Hagerton because of a video that he did around Christmas time. And this book has so much powerful information about bringing your dreams to fruition by literally circling them in prayer and letting that kind of guide the direction of your life. But you have to have dreams because that propels us forward, okay? And he talks about the difference between dreams and goals. It's just so good. So we got to make a game plan, right? We've got to have a real strategy. So here's your challenge. This is the real deal. Open your calendar and schedule a class. And I'm going to get super bold here. And I'm going to say today is the 22nd of the month. I'm going to challenge everybody to schedule a class before the end of May. Okay? So it could be a lunch and learn. It could be a breakfast class. It could be an online class. It could be a, couples class. Come over. Maybe you meet at the park. Shannon Hudson told us about her doing dates at the park while the kids are playing. She meets at a picnic shelter with moms. I'm like, that is brilliant. I should just park it at the park and just talk to whoever's on the bench. But open the calendar, schedule a class, ask 3 people to invite others to come to your class. Don't just say you'll do it or think that you'll do it, but actually let's make it happen, okay? So before the end of day today, before you lay your head on your pillow, I would love to know what your class date is going to be. I know that you can do this, okay? Do not be shy about sharing your story with other people. And I'll throw one more little random thought in here. In the Star Factory this week, I don't know if either of you have seen it, but I did a post about Thieves Household Cleaner and mentioned somewhere, it's buried in the comments, that a lot of people have put up an educational post like that, showing how economical it is or how free of chemicals it is. And they have put that on their personal page and just share a couple of things that you love about it and then offer people a free sample if they have never tried it. And you guys, people are getting enrollments from offering free samples. So if you haven't done something like that recently, I invite you to grab that graphic or create one of your own and give it a shot, because it's a wonderful way when people know that you're living a non-toxic life or leading that direction. They're curious, like, how in the world are you doing this? So that's a good idea. All right, so chapter 25, just as we wrap up here, this is your super exciting cheat sheet to go from starter kit to silver. And this is what I would love to have everybody get in the habit of doing with each of your personally enrolled people, is to kind of walk them through what it looks like. Because oftentimes we get scared when we ask, are you interested in building the business? people reactively say no for two reasons. First of all, it sounds like work. And secondly, they have no idea what that is and what it involves. So of course they're going to say no, because we don't say yes to things that we don't know, right? And I mean, just like if I said, hey guys, do you want to go on a trip with me to Timbuktu? Your reaction may not be enthusiastic, because you would probably start asking questions like, well, where exactly is that? And how are we going to get there? And how long are we going to be there? And what is it going to cost? And what kind of food do they have there? There's a lot of ifs, right? And so it would be natural to kind of, well, no, I'm pretty busy, not interested. But if I said Timbuktu, that's on that little tiny island by Bora Bora, and it's amazing, and it's all expense paid, then maybe you're a little bit more interested, and you're like, okay, tell me more. So if we can tell people what to expect in what it means to go from starter kit to silver, and there's not that element of surprise, that might actually help us in sharing. So pages 205 to 207 is a pretty simple cheat sheet to just help people walk through what that would look like. So if you're brand new, order your premium starter kit. Tell people to use your member number. Photocopy Appendix A, that's the script, and start to practice it. Make a list of all your contacts, grab them off Facebook, Christmas card list, whatever, and start filling your classes. Help people learn how to set up a Facebook event. Ask 3 people off your warm market to invite all their friends. Market the class for 2 to 3 weeks. Open your doors, read the script, follow up, rinse and repeat. Teach 4 to 6 of these classes a month if your goal is to hit silver in 6. And on and on. So that's up to point number 9. Everything that people need to know, including us, on how to do this is in here. And we can absolutely tweak it and make it personal to us, because I had to tweak that script to make it sound like Skyla, and I hope that you did the same thing. The content is outstanding, but I want the little personal touches to sound like they're really coming from me. So I continue to refine that. There is no limit to what is possible here. I think that the biggest thing is that you just have to make a decision what you would like it to look like for you, and then simply get it down on paper and start making it happen. So the rest of chapter 25 here, I'm not going to read that to you, but if you haven't had an opportunity, make sure you read those, because those are some pretty awesome success stories from people on Sarah Harnish's team. And I don't know about you, but I love reading other people's success stories. That was one of the reasons I fell in love with the 4-year career, was because I could read those stories of where people started and where they ended up, and I could put myself in those shoes, and I would find someone to identify with that maybe was most like me. That's why the stories that were about teachers, I always perked up, because I was like, oh, I get that, because I was a teacher. That one resonates. And so make sure that you read those. And if you have not had an opportunity to go through everything in the appendixes, that's where all that good stuff is shared. So make sure that you do that. In the workbook, do you guys both have the workbook? Okay. Oh, hi, Will. Happy finals day. Oh, very good. But in the workbook on page 85, there is a fantastic resource that says bonus habits, how to or Habits of a Diamond. And it has more tips here on raising the level of your own leadership. So here's the deal. We cannot spend 90% of our time doing personal development and 10% of our time building the business. It's got to be flipped. But I will say that investing in your own development is critical. And this is why. I will wrap it up with this because I know we're just about out of time. And I have some people coming over to enroll today, so I got to make sure I'm ready for them. But here's the thing. The world, the way that the world is, we are inundated with negativity. Like it just seems kind of like the universe is slanted to bring the resistance, right? So in order for us to counteract that, we do have to pour into ourselves in a positive way on a regular basis. And that's what, my insulation is. My insurance policy is that I have, almost inoculated myself with enough personal development that when I go out, I don't care if somebody laughs and honestly, you guys, they really don't. But I don't care if someone says no, because I have enough personal belief that I know what I'm doing is of value. So if you're at all shaky in that area, you've got to do enough personal development, read enough good books, listen to great things on YouTube, go to the library, whatever you need to do to make your level of confidence at least equal or greater than all the junk that you're going to hear from everybody else. You just have to stay one step ahead of it. So that's how we get our resilience, and it works magnificently. So if you are in the Des Moines area, I am having an intro to the business class on Wednesday night that anyone is welcome to. And I am having an intro to Young Living class at my house on Friday night. So I'm looking specifically at you, Amy, because I know that's a little ways for Kat to drive. But if you have any interested parties, you are welcome to join me on either of those events. So it's going to be an awesome week. I will be looking forward to hearing back from both of you on when your class is scheduled for, if you are up to that. It's been a joy. So now here's the next step for you guys. The idea, the whole premise of Game Plan is to go through the training, apply it, and then train too. So what I would love for you guys to do is pick 2 people in your downline that want to link arms with you and grow and go through the training with them. That doesn't mean you have to do the whole book club, but you can go through the training, whet their appetite. You can direct them to Sarah Harnish's website and have them watch her videos. You can bring them to this Facebook page, and they can certainly go through these videos. But the idea is that this training continues to evolve. And then after you train 2, they will train too. And that's how it can grow and flourish. So sending you all the very, very best for an awesome week. Thank you for having lunch with me or just listening. And I will look forward to hearing from all of you very soon. So goodbye for now.